Alex Eala took apart Sorana Cirstea 7-5, 6-4 on Dubai Center Court. And once that second set started, Cirstea never had an answer. That's not a recap. That's a fact that rewrote the record books for Filipino tennis, for Asian tennis, and for the 2026 Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships all at once. But here's what the scoreline doesn't tell you. What happened inside that stadium on the night of February 18, 2026, wasn't just a tennis match. It was a collision. A 20-year-old prodigy from Quezon City who had been building toward exactly this kind of moment against a 35-year-old Romanian legend who showed up in Dubai already psychologically fractured, carrying wounds from a controversy that started in Melbourne 3 weeks earlier and never fully healed. This is how Alex Eala's biggest career win actually unfolded, and this is why Sorana Cirstea was always going to lose. But first, you need to understand where Cirstea's head was before she ever walked onto that court.
How special is this moment for you?
Super special! Yeah, every round is such a battle and, so filled with tension. So I'm really happy with how I performed. Yeah, and I'm really happy to be able to share it with all of you. Thank you.
You played Sorana
on January 22, 2026, at the Australian Open. Cirstea was in a second-round match against Naomi Osaka. During that match, she complained to the chair umpire that Osaka was saying "come-ons" between Cirstea's first and second serves, claiming it was gamesmanship, a disruption to her rhythm. The handshake at the net was described as frosty. Tennis legends Martina Navratilova and Lindsay Davenport weighed in publicly, debating whether Osaka crossed a line or whether Cirstea was simply too sensitive. The incident didn't just become a headline. It became a psychological fingerprint for everything that followed. Here was a veteran in her announced final year on tour, already raw about on-court disruption, already raw about being at the center of a global etiquette debate. And 3 weeks later, Cirstea walked into a stadium that was not going to give her silence. It was going to give her a war. Now, here's how Alex Eala earned the right to be in that war.
Does it again. It's another test that she's passed. It was tough against Jasmine Paolini last night, and we knew Sorana Cirstea would make it tough tonight. But she is a remarkable player, a remarkable talent, with remarkable support. She's into the quarterfinals here.
Eala came into the 2026 Dubai Duty-Free Tennis Championships ranked number 47 in the world, just days after touching a career high of number 40 on February 9th. The tournament's total prize pool sat at $4,088,211, an 11.85% jump over 2025, and just reaching the round of 16 meant $49,250 and 120 WTA ranking points. Eala wasn't just playing tennis, she was building a career in real time. Her path to the Cirstea match tells the story. In the round of 64, Eala advanced when American Hailey Baptiste was forced to retire with an abdominal injury, while Eala led 6-4, 0-1. That was the easy one. In the round of 32, Eala did something that made the entire Filipino community stop and pay attention. She beat world number 8 and former Dubai champion Jasmine Paolini. Straight sets, 6-1, 7-6, 5. That was Eala's third career win over a top 10 opponent. On the other side of the draw, Cirstea had arrived in Dubai on a 7-match winning streak, including a title run at the Transylvania Open where she dominated Emma Raducanu in the final. She'd since knocked out 10th seed Linda Noskova and Alexandra Snovic on her way to the round of 16. This wasn't a player running out of steam. Cirstea was dangerous, and that's when the stage was fully set. The night session on Dubai Center Court was not a neutral environment. Not even close. The tournament ran from February 15th to the 21st, and from the moment Eala's name appeared in the draw, the Filipino Kabayan community descended on the stadium. Reporters described the energy inside the Dubai duty-free tennis stadium as Beatlemania reborn, Philippine flags, handmade signs, a level of noise that professional tennis had frankly never seen for a player outside the sport's absolute elite. And it got controversial fast. Fans cheered loudly every time Cirstea committed an unforced error or double faulted, which in traditional tennis etiquette is simply not done. There were multiple moments where fans were shouting "Tili," a high-pitched Filipino cheer, and chanting while points were still being played. The chair umpire had to step in repeatedly to remind the crowd that once the ball is in play, silence is required. But here's the part most coverage glossed over. This crowd wasn't some chaotic surprise. It was a structural feature of what Eala's rise means to an entire diaspora. Eala trained at the Rafael Nadal Academy in Spain, an institution built on baseline tenacity and left-handed versatility. She was built to handle pressure, to absorb it, to use it. The crowd was just another form of pressure, and Eala had been training for pressure her whole career. For Cirstea, the equation ran in the opposite direction. She'd already shown at the Australian Open how sensitive she was to anything that disrupted her between serves. Now multiply that by thousands of people cheering her double faults in real time. The psychological damage wasn't speculation. It played out visibly on court for everyone to see. The first set lasted 54 minutes, and it was a genuine chess match. Both players held serve through the opening 10 games. Cirstea was using flat, aggressive ground strokes to keep Eala on the defensive. Eala responded with left-handed angles that kept pulling Cirstea wide, disrupting the patterns the Romanian preferred. Cirstea took a 5-4 lead and held the pressure, but Eala held serve to level at 5-5, calm as ever. The 11th game was the turning point. Eala exploited a run of unforced errors from Cirstea to break and move ahead 6-5. Serving for the set, Eala ran into Cirstea's most defiant resistance of the match. Cirstea saved 2 set points, but Eala converted her third chance and took the first set 7-5. Think about what that set said. Against a 35-year-old veteran with a career-high ranking of number 21 and 2 decades of professional experience behind her, 20-year-old Eala didn't blink once. The second set is where things broke open, where Cirstea lost it, and where Eala was described as destroying her opponent. What analysts called a focused 20-minute stretch has already entered WTA vocabulary on its own. Eala broke Cirstea's serve in the first game, then again in the third. The targeting of Cirstea's second serve was systematic, surgical, relentless.
And she won that one in 3 sets. Coming in today, you probably prepared for a battle, but what was going through your mind with a lot of expectations also from you?
Yeah, I think the key to today was staying calm and trusting my shots. I think I was very solid in particular moments where I needed to be. So yeah, that reflected in my performance and in the score, I guess. Yeah.
What would you say were the shots that you kept going for throughout the match and something that you believed and you relied on the most?
That's a good question.
Between breaks, Eala held with clinical service games, including 1 hold to love, and suddenly she was up 4-0. At that point, Sorana Cirstea was visibly unraveling. There was a flurry of unforced errors. Cirstea was glancing at the umpire, at her coaching box. The crowd was responding to every mistake. Analysts noted she was broken quickly by the atmosphere. And given everything she'd carried into this match from Melbourne, that's not surprising. The combination of Eala's relentless defense and thousands of people cheering her failures was described simply as cruel. This was Cirstea losing it, and it was happening in real time. But here's where the story adds a layer. Trailing 5-1, Cirstea found something. In the closing stretch of what would become her most significant loss of the 2026 season, She won 3 consecutive games, saved 2 break points, closed the gap to 5-4. The Kabayan crowd, which had been celebrating, went quiet for a moment, and then Eala held her serve to love. One forehand winner. Match over. Final score, 7-5, 6-4. Eala won 4 of 9 breakpoint opportunities. Cirstea converted 2. 1 hour and 38 minutes of tennis, and history was written. Here's what that scoreline actually means for the record books. Eala became the first Filipino player to reach the Dubai quarterfinals in the entire history of this tournament, going back to 2001. That's not a recent record. That's a 25-year barrier. Gone. At 20 years and 168 days old, Eala became the youngest Asian player to record top 10 wins at multiple WTA 1000 events, surpassing the previous record held by Naomi Osaka. The same Naomi Osaka whose name had already shaped the psychological backdrop of this very match. The win moved Eala to a projected live ranking of number 32, a jump of 15 places from where she started the week. Reaching the quarterfinals locked in $98,500 in prize money, pushing her career earnings closer to the $2 million mark. And this was already her second career WTA 1000 quarterfinal, following a semi-final run at Miami the previous season. These aren't just numbers. Eala. Born May 23, 2005 in Quezon City, Philippines, 20 years old, left-handed, trained at the Nadal Academy, is not just winning tennis matches. She is building a legacy that a nation is watching unfold in real time. Now, here's the detail most post-match coverage buried, and it changes how you read this whole match. Sorana Cirstea had already beaten Eala before. At the 2024 Mutua Madrid Open, Cirstea defeated Eala. That result set a historical precedent between these two players, and it shaped the emotional weight of everything in Dubai. Eala herself acknowledged it after the match, framing the Dubai win specifically as redemption. In her post-match interview, Eala said, "The key today was staying calm and trusting my shots. I think I was very solid in particular moments where I needed to be." On the crowd, she added, "The waves of support have really made every single match all the more special. It's so difficult to describe the emotions and the actual experience of playing in front of this crowd." And then she addressed her Kabayan fans in Tagalog. "Salamat sa pagpuyat, mga kababayan. Uwi na tayo, tara." Cirstea's response after the match was stoic, refusing to engage publicly with the controversy. The same pattern from Melbourne after the Osaka incident. But her visible frustration on court, her difficulty staying consistent against Eala's baseline game, and the emotional exhaustion of performing in what analysts called an insurmountable environment. All of it was the real story. In her announced final season, every loss carries the weight of a closing chapter. As for what comes next, Eala's confirmed quarterfinal opponent was world number 4 and 2-time Grand Slam champion Coco Gauff. The professional community noted the specific irony. Gauff and Eala had been doubles partners in 2025, and earlier that same evening, before the Eala-Cirstea match even started, Gauff had walked out to address the stadium crowd directly, apologizing to the Filipino fans for making them wait through her own 2-hour, 18-minute match against Elise Mertens.
I think stepping in was one of the things we talked about, and just being mindful of my legs more than anything. Yeah.
You continue making history for Philippines tennis. Are you aware of what that means back home?
Somewhat. I'm aware of what happens over here. It's basically the same thing, I want to imagine. But yeah, the waves of support have really just made every single match all the more special, and it's so difficult to describe the emotions and the actual experience of playing in front of this crowd.
The crowd had been in that stadium, held at fever pitch, for hours. By the time Eala stepped onto center court, they were ready to erupt. The age gap between these two players was 15 years and 46 days, the largest in a round of 16 match in Dubai tournament history. That gap wasn't just a biographical footnote. It was the axis the entire match rotated around. Cirstea played it as a veteran asserting experience, flat ground strokes, structural pressure. Eala played it as a prodigy absorbing fire and returning with left-handed angles and a kind of resilience that only gets built through years of elite training. The Kabayan crowd controversy will follow this tournament for a long time. The WTA now faces a real structural question. How do you manage a sport that is genuinely globalizing, where diaspora communities, mobilized at scale, can functionally reshape the psychological conditions of a match at a neutral site? Whether that's celebration or disruption depends entirely on which side of the net you're standing on. For Eala, Dubai was a definitive statement. For Cirstea, it was the match she'll carry into retirement. But the one question this entire match left wide open is the one that matters most right now. Coco Gauff, world number 4, two-time Grand Slam champion, Alex Eala's former doubles partner, was waiting in the quarterfinals. The same woman who apologized to the Kabayan crowd for making them wait was now the final obstacle standing between Eala and a WTA 1000 semifinal. Eala beat number 8 Paolini. Eala beat Cirstea. Eala is projected to number 32 in the world at 20 years old. Can Alex Eala beat Coco Gauff in Dubai? And just how far does this run go?